I'd like to call to order this regular council meeting of the town of Saugeen Shores. And again, welcome everyone. The first order of business is a declaration of pecuniary interest, and I'll remind every member of their responsibility to do so. I will be declaring on item 6.1 one of the recommended candidates as an immediate family member. We have no additions or deletions to the amendment or the agenda. So the next item is adoption of the minutes, and first is a regular council of January the 23rd, and I have a motion that's been moved by Councillor Rich, seconded by Deputy Mayor Charbonneau, that council adopt the minutes of the council meeting of January 23rd, 2017 as presented. Any errors or omissions? All in favor? It's carried. Next item is Committee of the Whole minutes of January the 23rd, and it's been moved by Councillor Minaj and seconded by Vice Deputy Mayor Huber that council note and file the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting of January 23rd, 2017 as presented. Any errors or omissions? Deputy Mayor Charbonneau.
It's not an error, Mr. Mayor. Can I make a comment on an item in the minutes?
Go ahead.
It's with regard to item 5.8.3, the correspondence which was on there from the Police Services Board. I wanted to advise Council that I am in receipt of a letter from the Minister of Community Safety and Correctional Services in which she advises that the Ministry is now delaying the full transition to the PEM grant for 1 year from 2017-2018 to 2018-2019. So the effect of that is that the money that is in the 2017 budget from the police board will flow for sure, and that it will be on the same terms as last year, and that the terms of that grant will change effective next year. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any other comments? All in favor then? That's carried. The next item on the agenda is a report of the Committee of the Whole, and we have a public notice report of January the 23rd, and it's been moved by Councillor Minaj and seconded by Councillor Dave Mayette. The Council of the Town of Saugeen Shores adopts a public notice report dated January 23rd, 2017, recommending the Council approves the municipal budget for the year 2017. There's a spreadsheet there. I'm not going to read all the numbers in there. They're there for anyone, but Council has them. The next is that that the Town of Saugeen Shores levy be set at $12,579,841 to finance the operating and capital budgets of the municipality for the year 2017. This levy includes growth of $116,000 or 0.97% and a levy increase of $484,002 or 4.04%. That the BIA levies for 2017 be set at $33,000 for the Port Elgin BIA and $29,350 for the Southampton BIA. That the tax levy bylaw be establishing the 2017 tax rates be considered for council at a future date. Any questions about this? Comments? All in favor? That's carried. The next item then is the general government report. Then it's been moved by Deputy Mayor Charbonneau, seconded by Vice Deputy Mayor Huber. The Council of the Town of Saugeen Shores adopts the general government report dated January the 23rd, 2017, recommending that Council declares surplus to the municipality's needs and gives notice to the Council of Council's intent to pass a bylaw to close and sell the unopened section of Eckford Avenue located adjacent to 430 Eckford Avenue. Excuse me. Any questions or comments to this motion? If not, all in favor? If any, that's carried. I have a conflict with the next item.
That takes us on then to item 6.1, the Striking Committee report, and I have a motion moved by Vice Deputy Mayor, seconded by me. Can we get somebody to a moment. Hey, Diane, you did that, and look, you screwed the whole thing. I have a motion moved by Vice Deputy Mayor Huber, seconded by Councillor Minaj, that Council adopts the Striking Committee report dated January 24, 2017, recommending that Tim Thorne be appointed to the Airport Committee and that John Forsyth and Rebecca Smith be appointed to the Recreation and Active Transportation Advisory Committee. Questions or comments to the resolution? Being none, all in favor? That's carried.
So, the next item then is report of municipal officers, is airport committee report. And it's been moved by Councillor Dave Mayette, seconded by Councillor Minaj, that Council accepts the 2016 Port Elgin Airport Advisory Committee report. Any questions or comments? I'll start with Vice Deputy Mayor Huber.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just noticed, as I read their report, there's a discrepancy between what they're presenting in the 2017 airport budget in their report and, in fact, the amount that Council, their report says that their grant from the town is $20,365, but in fact it's $19,500. So I'm sure that that's just a typing discrepancy. But I'm concerned, and I've said this before at Council, when you look at the numbers, and I do think that there should be a time over the next year that we have a bigger discussion about the airport. I understand that it's nice to have an airport. It's nice to have a harbor as well. But when you start looking at the numbers and you see that our grant to the airport is $19,500 and there's 11 planes there. And I realize that, yes, there's some planes flying in and out and, visitors, that kind of thing. But when you just consider 11 planes, when you do simple math on 11 planes and $19,500, that's a taxpayer subsidy to each of those planes of about $1,750. And then when you look at the revenues that come in at the airport, they're called tie-downs. It's $3,100 that they're showing for the 2017 budget, $3,100. And again, just doing the simple math on 11 planes, and there's different things that factor into this, but if you divided 11 into $3,100, you'd see that basically it's about $275 a year for one of those planes to be there. This is really different than what we charge at the trailer camp in the harbor, and I think it really does sort of request, I guess, that there be a bigger discussion about this, because I understand it's nice to have an airport, but it's nice to have a harbor too, and we certainly aren't subsidizing every boat in there to this amount of money, and we're not letting those boats be there for that small of an amount of money. So, certainly I realize we're just being asked to accept this report, but these are really interesting numbers when you look at the level of service that's there. And a couple of years ago I asked, what is a tie-down? And it's hard to tell from the report, but so I can only assume that what's lumped into the tie-down number is the actual revenue that comes from each of the planes that is based there, which they said in 2016 was 11. A tie-down, when a plane flies in and lands a visitor, if it ties down, apparently there's a charge. I remember a couple of years ago when I asked how much is it, it's like something like $4.50 a plane, if in fact it gets charged. And if you read the report, it says that they get a lot of people landing after hours. So, there's no indication always that the payment is even collected. So I just, I've said this many years on council. I understand it's nice to have an airport, but it costs taxpayers, I think, more than should be going in this direction, given what we do at the harbor. Thank you.
Oh, any further comments? Then all in favor of the motion? Opposed, if any? That's carried. The next item then is, again, that's a report of committee, the whole, and its staff report to do with the We Care project, and it's been moved by Deputy Mayor Charbonneau, seconded by Councillor Rich. The council approves the waiving of fees for the We Care project at the community complex scheduled for May 12, 2017. Questions or comments to this motion? Not all in favor. Opposed, if any? That's carried. The next item, again, is a staff report, and it has to do with the special event Snowfest. It's been moved by Councillor Rich and seconded by Deputy Mayor Charbonneau that permission be granted to the Port Elgin BIA to host Snowfest on the Family Day weekend. Further, that the following road closures be approved from 9 a.m. on Friday, February 17th to 12 p.m. Tuesday, February 21st, Green Street to Godrich Green Streets, Godrich to Waterloo, sorry. Any questions or comments there? Start with Councillor Minaj. Someone.
I wasn't sure I understood 12 p.m. Tuesday. I think that should read 12 p.m. or 0000 hours Tuesday. It should read 12 p.m. 12:59 p.m. No, sorry, 11:59 p.m. Monday. You'd want that cleaned out of the way Monday night, not Tuesday night. Unless I'm hearing it wrong.
Sorry. So the intent is from 9 a.m. on Monday, so all day Monday, and until Tuesday at noon. Yeah, well, go ahead. There's a reason for that. I think David will address.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, and certainly the director can correct me if I'm wrong. Part of the thought process on that is to minimize the cost for the event. On a holiday Monday, staff would be being paid overtime, and our intent is to reduce that by having the cleanup done on Tuesday morning during regular working hours.
Okay. Vice Deputy Mayor Huber.
Thank you. It sounds like a fun idea. Do we have any indication when it says a snow pile of 5 to 7 feet in height? Now, I'm over 5 feet tall, and I'm not that tall, so I'm assuming that this is kind of like a ridge of snow, not just a tiny little pile. I have concerns because when you see that it's $500 and there's trucking involved and loaders involved, I find it hard to believe that to bring in and take out that $500 covers it along with everything else. I'm also curious to know, are there any issues at all concerning the safety of the snow where kids are involved? I would assume that snow from the rink might be a little bit safer than snow from elsewhere, and maybe that there's snow from elsewhere isn't coming, because I don't know, have we taken into account all of those factors? And is $500 really realistic for trucking in snow, loaders being involved at both ends? Because we're talking about basically, a loader being at the pickup site, the delivery site, and then again at the Coulter Parkette site to pick it up. That's 3 times for a loader, and you got 2 times for dump trucks there. Thank you.
I suspect you've done your homework on the $500. I mean, you want to speak to it? Anybody?
I can speak to it again. I ask my colleagues to help out. So we have done some preliminary costing estimate, and that is why that number is there. It's not an exact number, but that's the estimated number. The request did come in late, so staff are working with the organization, hoping it to be successful, and certainly next year, if it's successful this year, we'll work even more closely with them, trying to cover off some of the things you've mentioned.
Go ahead.
As a follow-up, are there any concerns at all about the safety of snow coming in from a snow storage area? I have Kid Street, which is across from Allen's next door to the Legion. I have a nephew who goes there to preschool, and the other day the kids were out the back. Carson's had a big loader there. All the kids were checking it out. There was a pile of snow there that was from the parking lot. When Kid Street ended, the kids were, if their parents were there or Aunt Di, were able to climb on that. That pile of snow was full of branches and twigs and dirt and gunk and chunks of salt, and it was not particularly probably healthy. Do we have any concerns at all about this?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, we did speak to the organizer about that, and that's why we selected the arena ice for the snow, because we joked that it would have less cigarette butts, less sticks, less rocks. It could have some red or blue coloring from that, and the organizers agreed to make up signs that say, "Parents, please ensure your children don't eat."
Deputy Mayor Charbonneau.
I just wanted to say that I really appreciate the work that staff has done on this particular project, and to recognize that it came in very late and that you had to sort of bend yourself out of shape to make it happen. And I know the BIA was eager to do it, and I just think you've done a tremendous job in accommodating this, and I really wanted to express my appreciation for your work. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks. So, is there any other comments? If not, all in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. The next item again is a staff report, and it has to do with Bruce Crawford Street award of tender. And it's been moved by Councillor Rich, seconded by Deputy Mayor Charbonneau, that Bridge Excavating Limited be awarded the contract for the Bruce Street reconstruction from Elgin to Falconer and Crawford Street reconstruction from Highland to Bruce Street, tender number 2017-6320-5700 in the amount of $1,194,384 plus applicable HST, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the necessary tender documents. Any questions or comments to this? Councillor Minaj.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, thank you. This is going to take just a few minutes to get through here. So the first one I've already addressed with staff, and that would be the tendering process, and it's along the lines of, it's different, but it's along the lines of the discussion we had earlier about sole sourcing. I'm hoping that we're going to get a staff report that speaks to some of these other issues, like tendering out a project, and then is there room to award a project to a local company within a percentage range. I also made comments about performance management on these projects. Last year we were originally instructed that the Bruce Street reconstruction, the first phase, would have been completed before July 1st, and we all know that that was not possible. For whatever reason, it didn't happen. And Green Street is a particularly busy street, and the good news was that staff were able to put down an early layer of asphalt, I believe. There was some sort of compounding mechanism there that made Green Street a little more suitable for traversing, as it is a designated collector road. We're going to be faced with the same conditions in Market Street. Market Street is a very busy street going to the waterfront from the main street. It is a collector designated road. What I'd like to see, I'd like to understand more about these projects, in particular this one, again, is why we cannot complete that work in a smaller time frame, why we're not asking for that work to be completed in a smaller time frame. We're giving out finishing rights to the end of October. Now I get it that maybe that final layer of asphalt needs to be done then, but my hope would have been that these companies can work in a smaller window. So I guess I'm a little new after even being on council as many times as I have in the last 2 years, not understanding who really owns the responsibility to get the work done on time and on budget. Whether it's our responsibility or whether once we let the contract, it's the contractor's responsibility. So my hope is that we'll find that out at a later time. So I'm hoping that Market Street can be treated earlier. Maybe we could cut that road up and put it back in a good fixed position before the heavy summertime traffic on that street. And the second part to my comments on this particular project is Crawford Street. So what we've done is we've done a 5-year plan, and in that 5-year plan we separated out what I would say is 3/4 of the work in that area. So we've done Crawford Street from Bruce to Highland. That's in a westerly direction. It's going to be done this year. And we've put Falconer Street from Waterloo to Highland into 1 phase or 2 phases in 2 other years. And then we had a long debate last year, and the public was involved about the condition of Crawford Street from Bruce back to, what is it, Sumpton? Now I've lost the street name. I think it's Sumpton. Anyway, back to in the other direction, west. And it's not currently, I believe, in the 5-year plan. So my hope would be that we would rejig the 5-year plan somehow and say we're not going to walk away from that quadrant of the community and leave 2 or 3 blocks not to standard when we've completed all the other blocks in that area. So my hope is that we could get a follow-up report from staff in the future addressing these concerns.
Thank you. Any further comments or questions? All in favor of the motion? Opposed, if any? That's carried. So, the next item on the agenda is a motion, or it was as a result of a notice of motion that was deferred last February, I believe February the 29th, and it was a motion to support the DGR. I don't have the motion in front of me, and I understand the mover and seconder would like to speak to it. Go ahead, Councillor Myatt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you, and certainly you are correct, the motion that we have on our agenda tonight is one that was drafted, I believe it was in February of 2016, so nearly a year ago now. And at that time, there was a request made to defer that motion based on new information that had been requested by the Minister of Environment and Climate Change, Catherine McKenna, for alternative site consideration by OPG. Now, since that time, the information that she had requested has been supplied, and that is why it was put back on the agenda for today. But in appreciation of the fact that this is an issue that is something that is not to be taken lightly, and that has many varied and diverse opinions associated with it, it is our opinion, and I say our being the mover and seconder opinion, that we would like to withdraw this motion today and directly replace it with a notice of motion to the effect that would be on the agenda for February the 27th regular council meeting, and that would give the public the appropriate time to consider the implications, prepare perhaps delegations, and allow for proper consultation to take place, not the least of which is to perhaps give our absent councillors a chance to participate in a more fulsome manner. So if it is the pleasure of the council, I would request that they would entertain that request of withdrawal and replace them with a notice of motion. Thank you.
Oh yeah, and I don't have the motion, but I do know the seconder was Councillor Minaj, and I guess you will agree that what the movers did with...
Absolutely, I concur that it would be appropriate to bring it up again and for discussion in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you. I think if we are going to do, just a point of clarification, and we will need to deal with that night if we are going to make any recommendation, March the 6th is the final date for receiving any correspondence either way. So we will deal with it that night.
And that of course plays into our perceived urgency to get this on the table. Absolutely.
Thank you. So then, the next item on the agenda is bylaws. So the first one is to authorize an agreement with Dr. Gasberti, and it's been moved by Councillor Rich, seconded by Deputy Mayor Charbonneau, that bylaw 9-2017, being a bylaw to authorize an agreement with Dr. Daniel Gasberti, is hereby read a first, second, and third time and finally passed and sealed this 13th day of February 2017. Any questions or comments to the motion or the bylaw? Not all in favor. Opposed, that's carried. The next item is a bylaw to stop up and close parts of Eckford Street adjacent to 416, 466, and 470 Eckford Avenue. It's been moved by Councillor Madison, seconded by Councillor Rich. The bylaw 10-2017, being a bylaw to stop up and close to public travel that part of Eckford Avenue on Register Plan 318, more particularly identified as Parts 1 and 2 on Plan 3R 9870, is hereby read a first, second, and third time and finally passed and sealed this 13th day of February 2017. Any questions or comments to the motion or bylaw? All in favor? That's carried. Next item is to authorize the sale of part of Eckford Avenue to the owners of 466 and 470 Eckford Avenue. And it's been moved by Councillor Minaj, seconded by Councillor Mayette, that bylaw 11-2017, being a bylaw to authorize the sale of part of Eckford Avenue on Registered Plan 318, more particularly described as Part 1 and 2 on Plan 3R 9870, is hereby read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed and sealed this 13th day of February 2017. Any questions or comments to the motion or bylaw? Not, all in favor? That's carried. The next is a deeming bylaw. It's deeming bylaw for Lot 29, Plan 318 of 470 Eckford Avenue. Moved by Councillor Matheson and seconded by Councillor Rich. The bylaw 12-2017, being a bylaw to deem Lot 29 and Plan 318 not to be on a registered plan of subdivision, is hereby read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed and sealed this 13th day of February 2017. Any comments to the motion or bylaw? All in favor? That's carried. The next item is a deeming bylaw for Lot 30, Plan 318, 466 Eckford Avenue, and it's been moved by Councillor Minaj, seconded by Vice Deputy Mayor Huber, that bylaw 13-2017, being a bylaw to deem Lot 30 on Plan 318 not to be on a registered plan of subdivision, is hereby read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed and sealed this 13th day of February 2017. Questions or comments to this? All in favor? That's carried. So the next is the closed public session, and it's been moved by Vice Deputy Mayor Huber, seconded by Deputy Mayor Charbonneau. The Council move into a closed public session to discuss matters in accordance with Bylaw 63-2015, Section 3.8.2b, regarding personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, with respect to an employee organizational review, and Sections 3.8.2d, labor relations or employee relations, with respect to the IUOE Local 793 negotiations. All in favor? That's carried. Reconvene in the committee. It's been moved by Councillor Dave Mayette, second by Councillor Minaj. The Council will rise from the closed to public session and resume regular Council meeting. All in favor? That's carried. It's been moved by Councillor Minaj, seconded by Vice Deputy Mayor Huber, that bylaw 14-2017, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Town of Saugeen Shores, is hereby read a first, second, and third time. Finally passed and sealed this 13th day of February 2017. All in favor? It's carried. And it's been moved by Councillor Matheson, seconded by Councillor Rich, that this regular Council meeting of February 13th, 2017, hereby adjourned at 10:02. All in favor? We're adjourned.